Well, I and many other people have been concerned that this was coming. We've warned about it, but it looks like gas lines are just around the corner. It's hard to believe it's already here and that it's not getting more attention, but the House of Representatives just passed a bill, an anti-gas price gouging bill, which, of course, would be correctly interpreted as a gas shortage bill, not a bill that will solve a gas shortage, but rather a bill which will create a gas shortage. I'm having trouble saying that today. I keep trying to say like gash. Forgive me. Speech is not one of my strong suits. But the reality is that Nancy Pelosi was already talking about this last week, and now it's already come to pass. I hope that it's blocked in the Senate, because if not, if this does get passed, if this does make it to the president's desk, he will, of course, sign it. And then he and every president, from here on into the future, will have the power to declare an energy emergency, just like, the president has the power to declare a health emergency or something like that. And we will see the president of the United States, for, of course, political reasons, determine what the price of gasoline should be. He will have the power to unilaterally punish anyone who tries to sell gasoline above whatever the president of the United States determines to be the fair price for gasoline. Of course, whoever is president at any given time is going to determine that the price of gasoline is sufficiently low. What he considers the fair price is going to be sufficiently low to make constituents happy. Say, for example, $2.50. The president of the United States, be it Biden or Trump or anybody else, could come out and say, I think the price of gasoline should be 350 cents a gallon. And anybody who sells above that is going to get fined. And so what's going to happen? The gas stations will go along with it. They will not raise their price above $2.50 a gallon. They just simply won't sell as much gas. They will sell as much gas as they can at a profit at that price. Because economic goods, commodities, they're priced at the margin. And so there might be some oil which can be dug out of the ground cheap enough and then refined cheaply enough to produce gasoline. Some gasoline, which they could sell at a profit for $2.50. But if the gasoline cannot, if there's, let's say, I don't want to just throw out stupid figures here. But let's say, I'll do it this way, trying to understand marginalism. We have all these different sources for gasoline, for oil. You can get them from all different parts of the world and have them refined in different facilities and shipped through different means, rail, truck, pipeline. Yet we pretty much have one price of gasoline, at least one price of any given octane level of gasoline. 87 octane gas it varies across the country, but it's generally a price. And so you have all these different producers of gasoline, of oil, who all have different cost structures, who have different business models, who have different, just completely different, excuse me, I had to sneeze, completely different scenarios. And some of them have bigger profit margins or smaller profit margins. But as the market price of gasoline gets bid up, you have more and more supply that comes online, because all of a sudden an oil company that, let's say, can produce a gallon of gas for $3.75 a gallon. If the price of gas is $3 a gallon, they're not going to produce any of that. They're not going to sell it because they would be producing it at a loss. The price goes up to, let's say, $4. All of a sudden, now they've got a 15-cent profit there. Yes, they're not making as big a profits as the people who can produce a gallon of gas for $2 a gallon. but they're able to make a profit, so they're coming online. So you have more supply as the price goes up. And then eventually, the reason why the cure for higher prices is higher prices is that eventually you will have so much supply coming into the market because people will see, hey, the price of gas is so high, I'm going to try and go in and produce it, and there's going to be a glut in the market, and that's going to push the price back down. But if the President of the United States comes in and says, I don't think anybody should be able to sell gasoline for more than $2.50 a gallon, well then sure, those oil companies who are able to produce it for $2 a gallon, however much gas they can produce, they will. And those guys who can only produce at a cost of $3.75 a gallon, well, they're not going to sell any gas. They're not going to try and dig any oil out of the ground and refine it if it costs them $3.75, because they know that they'll never be able to sell it for more than $2.50. And so the supply will not increase. It will stay about the same. And so as demand increases and price cannot adjust, demand will exceed supply over a prolonged period, and the end result of that is rationing, which is what we saw in the 1970s, thanks to, I believe it was Richard Nixon, who imposed wage and price controls in the early 70s, and that was, I don't know how long they continued it, but too long. And so gas stations would run out of fuel every day. And so they had to split people up as far as they had to limit how much they could buy. They would say, okay, odd and even license plate numbers. The odd people can go on, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and the even-numbered people can go, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, something like that. It worked generally in that kind of a way. And then they would also limit how much you can buy. Like, okay, you can only buy 5 gallons at a time, and so people would have to go every other day, whenever they could, fill up as much as they could, and it was just scarcity. Prices could not adjust. That is where we're going to get back to. You're going to have to invest in a bicycle. That's my tip for you. In fact, I would probably invest in like a little moped. If you're too far away from work to ride a bike, get something that will get you like 50 miles per gallon or 200 miles per gallon, or whatever it is those little bikes get you. And make sure that it's something that can carry a big thing. Go to the gas station every other day, or maybe not every other day. Fill up with your 5 gallons of gas that you need. Keep it at home. Hoard gasoline. And ride to work that way. That's the way that you will get through a gas shortage. That's what people will have to do. That's how they'll have to adapt. People have to stop driving cars. That's where we're going. I mean, I thought it was bad. I thought they were going to put people, make people stop driving cars because of all the green crap. Because they were going to make cars absurdly expensive, which they already are, make them impossible to repair, and then, make all this battery crap that we have to deal with. But no, they're just going to make gasoline prohibitively expensive. This has been an idea that the left has floated for the last few years regarding gun control. Hey, we don't have to ban the guns. Let's just make ammunition prohibitively expensive so that people don't go out shooting, and so that it's not fun anymore. Because if you have to fire off, $2 a round, you're not going to want to go out and shoot very often. And when you do, you're not going to want to shoot very much. And so, they banned all of the cheap ammunition from being imported. Now all we have in this country is expensive ammunition. And so it appears to be the same logic regarding gasoline. Stop issuing, new leases. Don't let people drill as much. Make it difficult. Discourage new refineries, all these things. And then fix the price of gasoline in order to inhibit any increase in production. Just completely destroy the market for gasoline, and of course diesel. I mean, diesel's more important because you can't replace diesel. That's not going away. The truck drivers can't just buy a moped and ride to work. Because for the truck drivers, their truck is their work. And for you, the consumer, the truck driver is a major enabler of your copious consumption. So I don't know what else to say other than I'd like to welcome you all to a world of pain. And I have no doubt the Biden administration fully intends to take advantage of this bill if it passes the Senate. It's clear that gas prices are weighing heavily on this administration. You'd have to be blind not to see that. And so this will be their way, even though it'll make the problem worse. This will be Uncle Joe's way of trying to prove to people before the midterms that he and the Democrats are doing something to bring down gas prices. And it literally will be something as ham-fisted as saying, nope, we're just going to outlaw raising gas prices. No more raising the price of gas. And no more, drilling for oil, basically. No more building refineries because that's not ESG compliant. What are you doing building a refinery? We want to shut down refineries, not build new ones. Of course, the bankers are the ones helping with that. But it's all the same. It's all the same cabal. The bankers, the state. There's no difference. There never really has been. The banking sector has been, they've been wards of the state going back to the founding of America, and before that in other countries. So what we're witnessing is an unholy alliance, which is as old as time. An alliance between Washington and Wall Street, where they are conspiring to destroy our way of life. It's that simple. The American economy will come to a standstill. I can't even... Worse than the 70s, perhaps, because we've got everything else going on. In the 70s, really the main thing was the oil embargo. It was oil. Nowadays, we've got plenty of other problems. We have inflation even before any problems with the price of oil. Nominal or the inflation of consumer prices. Inflation in the price of goods you buy in the store will only get worse as this energy crisis continues to unfold, especially if the Dems, no pun intended, pour gasoline on the fire. I'm really at a loss at this point. I shouldn't be. Nothing should shock me anymore. But I wish I were looking back on this in the past. It's so much more frustrating to live through this. Because, looking back, when all this is said and done, it'll be pretty obvious. But now, when you're having to wait through the time, it's not hard to figure out what problems we're going to encounter. But the pace is just excruciating. One of my, I guess you could call it like a catchphrase that I've had when it comes to these economic videos over the years has been, why can't we just rip the Band-Aid off? That's all I want to do. I want to see the Fed hike rates to 20%. And get it over with. Wipe everything out. Let's start with a clean slate. And they just won't do that. They just want to talk and talk and talk and talk. And raise the Fed funds by 50 basis points here and there. There's only one way out of this. And that's one, we got to produce a lot more oil. And two, you got to get rates up one way or the other. An economy cannot grow with negative interest rates. By definition, you're shrinking then. Because investing money will actually lose you money. So if your investments have a negative yield across the entire economy, when you can't get a positive yield anywhere, or if more often than not you're getting a negative yield, maybe some investments will yield a slight positive yield. But as of right now, it's a damn hard struggle to find anything that is yielding above inflation. So if that's not cold hard proof of a recession, I don't know what is. You can come up with whatever fake GDP number you want to try and claim that this economy is growing, but that doesn't make it true. If you can't make a positive rate of return, there's no growth. Everything's just getting more and more expensive, and we're all making on a, inflation adjusted on, in real terms, we're all making less and less and less. So with that said, I'll see you folks back here tomorrow.